Get ready with me. I have a question for you. Are you more likely to be your fullest, truest self and run the risk of not being liked? Or are you more likely to adjust who you are in certain environments in order to fit in, be liked, be accepted? This topic is on my mind today, so I thought it would be interesting to talk about it. If I'm being honest, most of my life, I was more likely to curate how I showed up in order to hopefully fit in or be liked or be accepted, to earn approval. I think that's really common. I think if most people are being honest, they also do something similar. They do some version of that. But I'll also say that as you get older, it starts to feel more and more challenging to continue doing. That's why you'll hear jokes about how older women are more likely to say, screw other people's expectations, I'm going to be who I am. I definitely think that I've begun to land in that phase. It's started to feel like life is too short and that it would be a shame to one day leave this earth and not ever have explored what it's like to just be your fullest and most authentic self. I think I would have a lot of regret around that. The older that I've gotten, the more that I've begun to realize that showing up as a less authentic version of ourselves doesn't necessarily successfully result in more approval, more acceptance. In all of the years that I've participated in different versions of that, I don't necessarily think that it earned me any more friendships, any more invitations, any more inclusion. Hustling for worth at the end of the day often doesn't end up working. It doesn't end up giving you the feeling of worth that you thought you would get out of the hustle. It's like, oh, I know if I get more degrees, if I get my PhD, I'll finally be loved and appreciated and included and accepted. Or if I lose more weight, I'll have more friends, or I'll fit in more, or I'll somehow be more likable. In my personal experience, that has not happened. It's not even necessarily that we have conscious awareness of that being the motivation. It's more in hindsight that you can look back and see, wow, how much of that decision was about somehow gaining approval and acceptance from other people. I think that over time you start to awaken to that. Another problematic aspect of making choices from that place, even if it is out of your direct awareness, is that the life that you start to curate and cultivate and grow is a life that is not in alignment with what you really want at your core, because it's a life that you shaped knowingly or unknowingly for the purpose of having more of a sense of worth based on the approval of other people. And so I feel like a lot of times people will hit their middle adulthood phase and sort of reflect back and think, is this the life that I really wanted? And that becomes a wake-up call sometimes for people to start to make drastic changes. It doesn't necessarily make sense to the people around them. It can start to look like, what in the world are they thinking? Why are they doing that? Why are they doing that all of a sudden? Well, it's because they're trying to align more fully with who they really feel like they are on the inside. Another thing that I really think about when it comes to this is that even if you are successful in gaining more friendships, a sense of more inclusion as a result of trying to fit in, trying to sculpt yourself into a version of you that would fit in more, at some level you start to feel insecurity and anxiety around that, because in the back of your mind you start to wonder, if they really knew the fullness of me, would they even still like me? And you would be right in wondering about that. If we really knew each other in our fullness, maybe some people wouldn't want to continue staying connected because they wouldn't necessarily feel aligned anymore. And so I think a benefit of starting to drop into deeper alignment with who you really are on the inside is that the people who are really drawn to that version of you are really and truly drawn to you. Those are connections that feel really solid. It feels really soothing to the nervous system to know that I can be my fullest self and also still be loved and accepted and appreciated for who I really am. The tricky thing, though, I think as you get older and start to tap more and more into the fullness of your authentic self, is that there's a period of time where old connections are falling away and the new connections have not really come in yet. It can be a very lonely time. Something that I've discovered, if you have a calling of any sort that is more public facing, is that It will demand your authenticity. It'll demand that you be willing to say things that not everybody will like. And you will be tested every day. Are you sure you want to continue going forward? You can crawl back into that shell. You can abandon whatever it is that you feel this mission is. You can let it go. And you'll have to choose. You'll have to decide for yourself. What's more important? Being liked by as many people as possible, or possibly being a disruptor? Allowing yourself to embody things, say things that you know not everybody's going to like, that you know might result in you actually losing connections. This is something that's been on my mind a lot. I mean, the thing is, I'm a Scorpio sun, Pisces moon, Leo rising. In the fullest, most authentic version of me, there's always going to be a group of people that I piss off. I'm either going to be too dark, too emotional, too in your face, too perceptive, too everything. Always too much of something. And I do think that for many, many years, that led me to crawl into a smaller space in my own soul and hide there. But that's not what I came here to do. The longer that I continued to do that, the more and more that I started to feel like a bird with its wings clipped. We didn't come here to play small. We came here with our specific traits and attributes for a purpose. Every single person embodies something unique to contribute. And if all of us curate that aspect of ourselves out in order to fit in with one another, as a collective, we're really missing out on all of the nuance and richness that we were meant to come together and combine for the greater good. I'll be honest, to some degree, this is a pep talk for me because I was feeling a little sad about this today. Even as I'm getting older and trying to learn how to not let other people's perceptions bother me. I mean, my mantra has been, other people's opinions about me are not my business. But even with that, there are days where I feel that ache of love and acceptance, of inclusion, of approval. And my arms want to outstretch for that. I have to consciously choose to put my hand back on my body and remind myself that none of that matters. What matters is that I shine my own unique light into the world, and I surrender to the process and trust that for those who it's meant to land, it will land. For those that it's meant to empower and help, it will. But I'd be lying if I were to say that that's not hard to remember sometimes, especially when you make the conscious choice to start to create content that contains more of who you really are on the inside, more of your fullness. When it's not received well, it feels like a rejection of who you are at your core, because you're creating from your core. Whereas if you were creating from some sort of performative place, if people don't like it, okay. My heart wasn't woven into that creation, so it doesn't matter anyway. Choosing to create or put yourself out there in some way from a place of more of your authentic core requires thick skin. It requires practices that ground you back into your center. When you start to lose yourself, when you start to lose sight of what's really important, it's not necessarily about being liked. It's about being real. So along with this video being a sort of pep talk for me, I think that it also is meant to challenge any one of you who know in your heart that there are things that you're supposed to be speaking out about, that there are things you're supposed to be embodying because it rings true to you in your deepest knowing, but where you've perhaps silenced yourself for fear of judgment, for fear of pushback, for fear of rejection. I think that the people out there right now who are making their perspective known, allowing their voices to be heard, even if it goes against the mainstream, even if it goes against the dominant narrative right now, those people inspire me. They are the reason that I started doing this to begin with. I hope some aspect of this message landed for some of you. I know that it may not resonate with everyone. I guess that's the point, right? Take the very best care, and I'll be back again soon. Bye.